One of the most empowering things about this process, as simple as it is that it brings the power back to you. You can have that experience of saying, you know, I don't have to go outside for help. I don't have to take a pill, or I don't have to see a psychologist. I can have an experience for myself and take control. And that's a big deal, right? Because most of us, for most of our lives, we spend thinking that we're not in control, that things just happen to us. Now, this group in particular, I know, doesn't feel that way. This group is a group where we know we're in control. We can change our destiny in really magnificent ways. So I started using this tapping technique for myself with friends and family. You know, the running joke at the time was, don't say anything is wrong around Nick. Right? Bad idea. Because I was so excited. So someone would say, oh, my back hurts, or I'm scared of this. And I'd be like, let's tap on it. We have to try it. And that was my first couple years of experience with that, where I said, I just need to try this thing. And I'm sure a lot of you who raise your hands who are familiar with tapping have felt the same way. Wow, I want to share this with somebody else because it can help them so quickly. Topic here to start with some work for Wayne right now. So who knows about tapping here? Raise your hand if you know about it. I came all this way and you all know about it? So we're going to do some group tapping for Wayne right now. If you don't know what it is, I'm going to explain it afterwards, okay? He's in a lot of pain. Just over there, we're going to tap together to see what we can do to help. Okay? Ready? Start by tapping the side of the hand. Sorry. Such a good guy. Here we go. Even though Wayne is in so much pain, sorry, repeat after me. I got to give you instructions. Even though Wayne is in so much pain, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And we're going to do that 2 more times. Again, focusing on the intention of the pain that he's in and your pain. Even though he's suffering so much, his neck is hurting, it's pulling on him, and he really wants to be out on stage. I deeply and completely accept myself and him, even though he really wants to get out here. He doesn't want to disappoint us. I choose to relax and let all of this go. So we're going to tap through the points now. The first point is the eyebrow point, inside of the eyebrow, right where the hair ends and meets the nose. You can do one side or the other side or both sides. This pain in my neck. Side of the eye. This pain in Wayne's neck. Under the eye. This collective pain. Under the nose. All this pain. Under the mouth. It's safe to let it go. Collarbone. Feel for the 2 little bones of the collarbone and just down an inch and out to each side about an inch. It's safe to let this pain go. Under the arm. All this pain in my neck. Top of the head. All this pain in my neck. And take a deep breath. Let it go. And that's 1 round of tapping. We're going to do 1 more. Now, one of the things that I know about Wayne is that he wants to be out here so much. And that he feels like he's letting you down. He hasn't told me that, but I know that. Is that true? Wait, it's true that he's letting you down? Let's rephrase it. He's like, I got to get out here. Are you disappointed in Wayne today? No. So let's tap for him to help him let go of that need to be out here and just take care of himself. Right? So tapping the side of the hand. Yeah, round of applause for Wayne. There you go. Tapping the side of the hand. Even though I don't want to disappoint you, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I want to be out here, no matter what, no matter how much it hurts, I choose to relax and feel safe now. Even though I have this terrible pain in my neck, I choose to let it all go now. Now tapping through the points. This pain in my neck, side of the eye, this terrible pain under the eye. It's time to let it go. Under the nose, it's time to feel safe. Under the mouth, it's time to feel all this love. Collarbone, it's time to know I don't have to do anything. Under the arm, or prove anything. And I can just take care of myself. And deep breath. So with that little quiet, let's just take 30 seconds and go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just feel that quiet within you, that peace within you. And just send that towards Wayne. Feel it yourself. Feel the love for yourself and for him. And whatever you believe in, whether it be prayer or affirmation, just send that towards him. So all those muscles in his neck can relax. All the inflammation can go down. Wayne's been teaching us for a long time the power of intention. Now we get to take what we learned from him and send it his way. Thank you. A round of applause for Wayne. All right, how's everyone doing? So we're going to work together for the next hour or so, and we will continue to hold that intention of him releasing that pain. We're actually going to have some examples today, hopefully with the audience, of how tapping can help with pain relief. So today we're talking about tapping, or EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. It's what you just did. It's what some of you probably felt a little silly doing when you had no idea why we were doing it and why we were saying all these statements that didn't seem to make much sense. So let's break that down. EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, otherwise known as tapping, because we are literally tapping on these endpoints of the meridians of our body. Right? And what the latest research has shown is that when we tap on these endpoints of meridians while focusing on a stressful situation, while focusing on pain in our body, while focusing on a trauma, on something that's in our way, that when we tap, we actually send a calming signal to the amygdala in our brain. Right? And some of you may know that the amygdala is that very ancient fight or flight response center in the brain. It's the stress center. Right? It's a part of you that when you get an email that is worrying you in some way that makes you angry, it just lights up. Right? It's a part of you that when somebody says something to you that doesn't feel safe, it lights up. It's the part that controls our stress response. It's a very ancient part of us that has served us for a long time. Right? The fight or flight response initially was for tigers in the bushes. A tiger would jump out at you, you would be getting attacked, and you would fight or flee. So what happens when you fight or flee? Tiger's chasing you, the blood flows away from your brain into your limbs. The blood flows away from your stomach, your digestion, your body says, it's not time to digest now, it's time to run or fight. Right? So it's a very important response, and certainly one that serves us in a lot of ways in this day and age if we are in physical danger, if we have challenges in our life. Now, one of the challenges that we face in this very modern, fast-paced, hectic world is that amygdala, that fight or flight response, is triggering all too often. Right? So on a daily basis, we are having many fight or flight responses, many amygdala triggers going on. And the effects of that, the cascading effects of that event is dramatic. Because when you trigger that amygdala, not only do you have the physical response, you have the emotional and the mental response. Right? Not only does the blood flow away from your digestive system, making it easier to put on weight, right? So you're stressed out about the diet you're trying to be on, you're firing that amygdala, and you're putting even more weight on because you're stressed out about the diet. Anybody have that experience of being stressed out about a diet, right, when they're doing it? Oh, you liars. The diets are fun? Who thinks diets are fun? No. Right? So we're firing that amygdala, that stress response all the time. And what the tapping is doing, amongst other things, is calming that stress response. It's a strange looking technique, I'll give it to you. I wake up on a daily basis saying, I'm doing what? Like, I'm getting on stage talking about what? They're all gonna laugh at me. Tapping? That doesn't seem to make any sense. I discovered it for myself personally about a decade ago. I was just browsing online and kept reading about this strange tapping technique and kept hearing about how well it worked on so many things. Limiting beliefs about finances, clearing that block that is in front of you where you go, I have a dream, I have a passion, I know something's possible, but I can't do it. But I don't feel safe doing it. But I only take my dreams so far and then I sabotage myself. I kept reading about how it works with pain relief and how quickly it can change the patterns of pain. I kept reading about food and cravings and weight loss, and eventually you hear about something enough, you read it enough times that you try it. And I did. I remember one of my first experiences, I woke up and it was with some neck pain, clearly nothing like what Wayne is experiencing today, but I just had a crick in my neck, when you sleep on it wrong and you're going like this, what's going on? So I had a crick in my neck. I said, I'm gonna try this tapping thing. And I looked and I went through the process, and sure enough, in 5 or 10 minutes, it cleared. And that was an exciting result, but what was more exciting for me that day, it's certainly great that you can use it to tap away a little pain, but I started asking myself, I woke up this morning with one belief about the world, that this thing in my life, simple, this little pain that would take a day or 2 days or 3 days to heal, or some Advil or something else, is gonna take that long to heal. But then I did this weird tapping thing and everything changed. So I started asking myself, if I can change that in my life, what else could I change? What else is possible? We live in these paradigms. We live in these worlds where we have certain belief systems and we often have blinders on, right? How many of you, when you look back in the last 10, 20, 30 years of your life, before you discovered Wayne or a Hay House or this kind of information, do you go, I had blinders on, right? Anybody have that experience where they're like, what was I doing, right? And why did nobody tell me these things, right? They seem so obvious. When you have that experience, it seems so obvious. Why did nobody teach me that I have control over my emotions? Why did nobody teach me that I can change these patterns of sabotage within myself? One of the most empowering things about this process, as simple as it is that it brings the power back to you. You can have that experience of saying, I don't have to go outside for help. I don't have to take a pill, or I don't have to see a psychologist. I can have an experience for myself and take control. And that's a big deal, right? Because most of us, for most of our lives, we spend thinking that we're not in control, that things just happen to us. Now, this group in particular, I know, doesn't feel that way. This group is a group where we know we're in control. We can change our destiny in really magnificent ways. So I started using this tapping technique for myself with friends and family. The running joke at the time was, don't say anything is wrong around Nick. Right? Bad idea. Because I was so excited. So someone would say, oh, my back hurts, or I'm scared of this. And I'd be like, let's tap on it. We have to try it. And that was my first couple years of experience with that, where I said, I just need to try this thing. And I'm sure a lot of you who raise your hands who are familiar with tapping have felt the same way. Wow, I want to share this with somebody else because it can help them so quickly. So I spent the first couple years doing that, sharing with friends and family. And in 2007, I got this crazy idea, this inspiration to make a movie about tapping. Right? Now you probably think, oh, okay, so this was going to be your third or fourth movie. You were in the business and you said, let's switch to tapping. Not so much. I had no filmmaking experience. My budget consisted of credit cards and credit lines. I literally maxed out credit cards and credit lines to make the movie happen. One of the first weekends right after we started, I bought $30,000 worth of camera equipment, and literally it was my younger sister, best friend, and I in our living room opening up boxes and saying, is this a camera? No, this is a light. I think this looks like a light, right? It was that degree of inexperience, but that much passion for the project, that much passion for the idea of here's a technique that works. Let's document it. Let's show it. Let's share it with the world in a concrete way. So we spent the next year making this documentary film with literally no experience, filming people like Jack Canfield and Dr. Joe Mercola from Mercola.com, Bruce Lipton and Cheryl Richardson, a bunch of great Hay House authors, other tapping experts, and we put together this film about tapping. Now, for the first 6 months, the film was just experts, right? It was talking heads, as I like to call those movies, which can be great, very educational, very informative, but what I wanted was to really document the results of this technique. If there's one thing about tapping that has blown me away in the last decade, is how consistently it works, how well it works on so many issues. So we took all those experts and we had this idea to make a 4-day event, to put together a 4-day event where we would bring in 10 people from around the country. We had hundreds of applications, flip through them, pick people who we might be able to help. People like John, who was a Vietnam veteran with 30 years of chronic back pain. When we met John at his house in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you could see he was in a tremendous amount of pain. He was on painkillers the last 30 years. He had had multiple surgeries. The doctors told him everything that was wrong with his back. There's this wrong, there's that wrong, there's that wrong. And John came to the event, and we started the tapping process. And we started looking at, as you'll see in a little bit, how you can tap on pain, looking at not only the physical component, but the emotional component. And not only the emotional component on the surface level, but how do we find that emotional component and then actually heal it? Right? Step one is to have awareness of the things that are holding us back. Step one is to be aware of the trauma, the things that happened when we were 5, 10, 15, 20 years old that we haven't let go of. So that's step one, but the hard part has always been, what's step two? I know it. I've been talking to my therapist about it for the last 10 years. My mom still drives me crazy, right? So what's step two? And this is where the tapping comes in so beautifully, to recognize that trauma, to actually bring it up in the body, mind, and spirit, to acknowledge what it is, and then to do the tapping to clear it. So we did that with John, and we tapped about Vietnam. We tapped about his experiences there. We tapped about a terrible rat phobia that he had. We tapped about the pain in his back. We tapped about how his dad used to beat him with a belt in that same spot in his back where he was now in pain. Now, his dad did that to him when he was 10 years old. He didn't get the back pain until he was 25. But I believe that it's those events in a cumulative fashion that end up creating that cascade. So we tapped with John all these experiences, and he tapped and he cried and he let go and he forgave, and he woke up the second morning. So he was there for a day, maybe 6 hours. He wakes up the second morning pain-free for the first time in 30 years. Yeah, applause for John. We worked with Jody that same weekend, who had fibromyalgia, diagnosed for the past 15 years. Tremendous pain throughout her body, pain in her knees. She couldn't walk. She would get cortisone shots. And what was really interesting about Jody is that she was doing the work, right? She wasn't totally unconscious about the fact that maybe some emotions are playing a part in her pain. Maybe the stress that she has in her life is holding her back and keeping her stuck. She was doing the work, but it wasn't until she brought this physical, somatic body component in, until she acknowledged that there's more to the body than just the mind. Until she stopped and said, I'm going to deal with these traumas, I'm going to work through them, I'm going to release them from every cell in my body. And again, it was that second morning that was pretty magical. Jody woke up pain-free for the first time in 15 years. Renee, that same weekend, a different topic, Renee's wife had passed away 60 days earlier. He was driving the car. He was driving a big van across the George Washington Bridge in New York. Truck swiped in, terrible accident. His wife passed. So when we saw Renee, it was an interesting question. Well, his wife passed 60 days earlier. Well, what does tapping do here? Right? We're not tapping on grief. We're not tapping on loss, on the purest human emotion that is part of the healing process. But what we did with Renee is we tapped on him on the trauma of the accident itself, right? Because you can have an accident, you can have an event that you don't fully let go of. And he hadn't. He was racked with guilt. What could I have done differently? How could I have turned the wheel differently? He kept running the event in his mind over and over again in 15-second loops. If you've ever been in a serious car accident, you probably know some of these experiences where there's that deep trauma in the body. And he couldn't move forward. He actually couldn't even grieve. If we have that level of trauma in our bodies, it becomes difficult to even grieve, to even feel the loss, because all we feel is the stress, the anxiety, the anger. So we tap with Renee, and really miraculous. You see it at the end of the movie. You see him at the end of the 4 days where he speaks about the closeness he feels with his wife and how he misses her and feels her for the first time in 60 days. And then you see him 6 months later where, of course, he's still missing her terribly, but he's moving forward in his life and he's taking steps to heal. So these are just a few of the literally, at this point, I would imagine hundreds of thousands of examples of how tapping works. And the question is, how does it work for you, right? What do you need to do in your life? What do you need to clear? Whether it be finances, limiting beliefs. In the midst of making the movie, I certainly, personally, felt stuck a lot of times, right? No experience, credit cards, credit lines, this crazy idea that I want to put into the world. How am I going to do it? Do I believe in myself? Am I willing to stand out? Am I willing to put this out in the world and make the effort? And what happens oftentimes, I think what we tend to forget when we think about visions and dreams and goals and all these aspirations, financial, emotional, spiritual, is that if we are carrying that component of stress throughout it, right, that fight or flight response, that amygdala response, we are not as resourceful, we are not as creative, we are not as inspired as we can be otherwise. And one of the things that I like to talk about is think about your goals. Just take a second now and think about some big goal you have, a big aspiration, a big dream, something you want to do financially. You want to be a millionaire, you want to write a book, you've got a big plan, right? And you're thinking about it, and you're thinking about ways to do it and ideas and what you can do to actually make it happen. Now imagine a tiger jumps out of the bushes at you, right? I don't think there's tigers in Australia, but I use a tiger everywhere, so, What's an appropriate Australian? A kangaroo? We're scared of kangaroos? They're dangerous, right? Fine, a kangaroo's chasing you, all right? This thing is vicious. It is killer. They get big, like 8 feet tall, right? And there's some killer kangaroo on your tail, right? So you are running, you are hightailing it, you are trying to keep your body safe. You're sprinting, you're in that stress response, that amygdala is firing. So kangaroo's chasing you, and I come running up right next to you, and I say, so, let's talk about that big dream. Let's talk about that goal. Let's talk about that inspiration you had. You told me last week that you had this great idea for a book that was going to change the world. You would look at me and say, are you crazy? There's a kangaroo here. And it's a killer kangaroo. Right? You would not have the mental capacity to think big, to dream, to be open, to be inspired. And of course, that's a ridiculous example, but it is the truth of what happens when we are carrying the stress response, when we are carrying old traumas, when we are carrying old grievances, old hurts, things that we haven't let go, things that are stressing our body out in the present day. Right? The opposite of this is, when do we have our most inspired ideas? Right? Taking a shower, in a bathtub, walking in nature. So what's happening here? What's happening is that we have deactivated that amygdala. We feel safe. From the physiological perspective, there's literally more blood in your head. Right? So you can come up with those ideas. So what we can do with the tapping is identify those things that have been holding us back. Most people that I work with come with a concrete outside goal. They say, I want to make more money, I want to lose weight, I want to find the love of my life, I want to improve my relationship. These external goals, which are fantastic. And then we sit down and start talking and say, okay, so you want to make $1 million. What's holding you back? And we go deeper and deeper and deeper and recognize that, when I was 10 years old, I got up in front of the class and I read my paper out loud, and everybody laughed at me. And whenever I think about standing on stage like this, I think, that ain't safe. They're all going to laugh at me. Right? So we carry these things forward. What I want to do in the next 25 minutes or so together is actually have a tapping experience. So, because I can talk about it until I'm blue in the face, but until you experience it and go, you know what, something shifted here, something has changed, that's when it's really powerful. So I want to start with a demonstration on pain relief. It's one of the things that I often work with on stage, and I think perhaps as we tap together, we'll also tune into Wayne's energy and see if we can clear some of that as well. So I would love first let me start with this question. How many of you are experiencing some pain right now as we talk? Wow, so about a quarter of you, okay. So I'd love to have 3 volunteers, ideally from down here. I'm sorry everybody up there, but it's gonna take a long time for you to get down, and you might hurt yourself on the way down. So, and I'm looking for somebody, before you raise your hands, people who have had a degree of chronic pain, something that's been going on for a while, at least a couple of weeks, something that's pretty acute that you can lock into, So let's go with the white right there, okay? And right there, yep, that's you, yep, you, yes. Yes, you going like that. Do you guys ever listen to Abraham Hicks? I should have done that. No, not you, behind, no, All right, so we have 2, we have 3, great. So let's get some chairs out here. Hello, what's your name? Nicole, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, what's your name? Claudia, nice to meet you. I'm gonna get 3 more chairs out here. Give me 1 second. Can I get 3 chairs? Okay, let's move this here. Reed, you don't want to tap with us no? Okay, all right. Reed Tracy, everybody. All right, go ahead and sit, if you guys would sit over here, yep. Sorry, and I need a handheld mic. We're a little disorganized this morning. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Would you see if that works?
Hello.
Okay, great. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna tap with these lovely ladies up here, and then we're all gonna tap along together. So I'll be cueing you along the way and give you some ideas as to how you can work on this. All right, so hello. So let's start on that since you have the mic. Tell me a little bit about the pain you're experiencing.
So my name's Eileen. I've been having pain in my knee.
Okay.
And also in my neck as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's been going on.
And how long has that been going on?
The knee's probably about a year.
Okay.
The same with the neck.
Okay, and on a 0 to 10 scale, whenever we're working on anything, we want to start with the target, right? So identify what we want to work on. In this case, it's the knee and the neck, and then give it a number on a 0 to 10 scale. Right? So 0 to 10 of the pain in both places.
The neck at the moment, probably about 7 or 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And the knee?
At the moment, it's about 6.
6. Okay. Great. All right.
Hi, my
Hello.
name's Claudia. I have an ongoing lower back problem. I associate it to work, or because I work outdoors and I'm a zookeeper, so it's kind of labor work.
Do you have any killer kangaroos in your zoo?
No, I thought that was quite funny. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Not kangaroos. You can use a cassowary, they can kill you. Yeah, that's a good example for Australia.
Okay.
So on a level, I think I do a lot of stretching every morning and a little bit of meditation, and I think that helps me. If I do not do that on any day, it can go up to an 8 or a 9. Today's probably a 5.
5, right now as you said.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Hello, my name's Nicole. I injured myself on the 10th of the 10th, 2010, at work, to be exact.
Have you looked up the numerology of that?
No, I haven't. I just know it means something. I was basically working myself into my own grave. I was doing a lot of repetitive overhead work, and on that day I couldn't lift my arm anymore. I've had 2 shoulder operations. I also have neurological pain. It goes from my neck. I have 2 slip discs in my neck as well, and I get a lot of right-sided headaches, and the pain goes into my shoulder blade, and as I said, it's neurological. It goes all the way down to my fingers. I get numbness and pins and needles, and some days the pain's so bad that I just have to lie down. Whether I sit, stand, walk or lie down, it's just chronic. And my muscles are starting to waste away too in my hand and in my trapezius muscle. So I'm trying to rid my pain.
And 0 to 10 right now?
It's about a 7 at the moment, but it just travels all the way down, and I can't lift my arm.
Okay.
I've got a frozen shoulder because I had a rotator
cuff. So
problem.
how far can you lift it right now?
There.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let me grab the mic from you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start tapping together, and if you are in physical pain right now, tune into that for yourself. If you're not, if you say, I'm in no pain whatsoever, tune into a stressful issue, right? Tune into something that's been bothering you recently, something that's upsetting you, and give that a number on a 0 to 10 scale, feel the emotion. And what we're going to do is, we're going to do this thing called borrowing benefits. So we're going to tap together using language about this physical pain. Now you might say, I'm angry about something that happened 2 weeks ago. Do the tapping using this language. As long as you keep that intention to work on your issue, you're going to be surprised with how that clears. The power of group energy, all right? So we're all going to tap together. What we're going to do first with pain is just tap using simply the focus on the pain, even though I have this pain, right? And then after that, we'll go a little deeper. We might ask, when did it start? What emotion is in that pain? And try to sort of unlock it. But let's see what happens just from some general tapping on pain, okay? So ladies, follow after me, and everyone else, just tapping on the side of the hand. And just repeat after me. Even though I have this pain in my body, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this terrible pain in my body, it's so frustrating. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I want to do that one more time. And again, you can see the formula, even though, and you fill in the blank with your issue. Even though I have this pain in my body, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now tapping through the points. Eyebrow point is on the inside of the eyebrow, right where the hair ends and it meets the nose. You can tap on one side, the other, or both sides. The meridians run down both sides of the body, and just repeat this pain. And now on the side of the eye, it's not at the temple, it's right next to the eye, this pain. And now under the eye, this pain in my body. Under the nose, all this pain. Under the mouth, it's above the chin, below the lip, right in that little crease in there, all this pain in my body. Collarbone, just feel for the 2 little bones of the collarbone, and down an inch, and out to each side about an inch. All this pain in my body. Under the arm, this pain and stress in my body. It's about 3 inches underneath the armpit, right on the broad line for women. And the top of the head, all this pain in my body. You guys look like monkeys. Let's do one more round. It's safe to release this pain. Side of the eye, my body can relax. Under the eye, and I can let this pain go. Under the nose, releasing all this pain and tension. Under the mouth, letting it go. Collarbone, it's safe to let it go. Under the arm, it's time to let it go. Top of the head, right now. And deep breath. So that's what's called 1 round or 2 of tapping. And after every round or 2, we want to check in. And we're always looking for 2 things. 1, was there a shift? What happened? You know, the pain was an 8, now it's a 7. Great. Pain was an 8, now it's a 9. It went up. Fantastic. Something is moving. Something is shifting. And then we're also looking for what else came up, right? And in the first couple times you do it, you might be thinking, trying to get the points, so nothing else comes up. But as you go through the process, you start seeing, there's some insights. You know, there's something else that comes up. I hadn't even thought about that with regards to the pain. So let's start by just checking in and see if anything shifted for you on the pain. Yeah.
Well, it's travelling, like it's a lot more intense, but it's definitely, it's moving, like under my arm and down at the back of my arm. I can feel something that wasn't there before, but it's moving, yeah.
Okay. 0 to 10, the pain?
I think it's 6.
Okay.
Like it's a little bit easier after that jolt of pain. Yeah.
Yeah. And any change in the movement of the arm?
Maybe a little bit
Yeah,
higher.
like half an inch higher. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Okay. So I think overall I started feeling a lot more relaxed, except there was one thing which I don't know if it's relevant.
Yeah.
I always seem to have weird things. When I was tapping on my hand, it felt really uncomfortable. Whether all the others felt really soothing.
Interesting. So uncomfortable in what way? What?
Tension, maybe?
Okay. So just
So
pay
it wasn't
attention
pain,
to that.
it was like it was uncomfortable.
Yeah. So just pay attention to that. There's no answer. It's not like, oh, well, that means this, right? But pay attention, see if it shifts. And it's great to notice that.
I felt like my muscle relaxed a lot more in the neck. So it's probably gone down to maybe about a 6.
Great.
Yeah.
And it was what, an 8?
It
7?
was
Okay.
8 before. And what was interesting is that I felt like in my knee, it kind of it's going up and down.
Yeah. So there's movement happening.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right, let's do a couple more rounds. And now I'm going to get a little more specific on the language, and we're going to work on your frozen shoulder, but it's going to work just as well for you ladies, okay? So start by tapping on the side of the hand. And if there was an emotion in your shoulder, what would it be? Worry?
Worry.
Okay. About what?
Just that I've been in pain for so long and I can't see light at the end of the tunnel about my pain. I just want it gone so that I can get on with my life.
Great. So tapping the side of the hand. Even though I have this worry in my shoulder, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this frozen shoulder, I've tried so many things, and I'm so scared it's not going to get better. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have all this fear and anxiety in my shoulder, I choose to relax and feel safe now. Tapping through the points, eyebrow point, this frozen shoulder, side of the eye, this worry and anxiety, under the eye, my shoulder stuck, under the nose, I feel stuck, under the mouth, and I don't know how to heal this. Collarbone, I've tried so many things, under the arm, and it's so frustrating. Top of the head, and I feel so stuck. Eyebrow, all this worry in my shoulder. Side of the eye, all this fear. Under the eye, releasing this fear and anxiety. Under the nose, it's safe to let it go. Under the mouth, it's time to let it go. Collarbone, all this fear. Under the arm, all this worry. Top of the head, all this anxiety. And take a deep breath. Okay, and again, check back in to the issue. What has shifted? And what came up?
I'm just tingling. I'm
Yeah.
tingling from head to toe.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
It's still very painful, but I just feel I can lift it a little bit higher. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see. There's probably about 2 or 3 inches extra mobility there from
Yeah.
what you had before. Okay.
And it's just, there's definitely energy shifting up and down my arm.
Nice.
I can feel it. Yeah.
Okay. And the pain, 0 to 10 scale?
I think it's about a 5.
Okay.
Really. Yeah.
Great.
It's just moving up and down.
Is that exciting?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, round of applause for him.
So the funny sensation when I was tapping onto my hand, I think initially I was thinking about it too much and my hand became cold. And it actually feels cold, which is weird. And then my lower back where it normally hurts became really tense and then really relaxed.
Nice.
And the pain's a lot better.
0 to 10? 0 to 10 scale, the pain?
Maybe 2 or 3.
Wow.
It just feels so relaxed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, round of applause behind that.
it was really funny because it kind of like went from here to here
Yep.
and back again.
Yeah.
So
Pain moves, right?
yeah, that's right.
Like, but I thought there's something wrong with my body, which is causing that pain.
But yeah, what like she was mentioning about the tingling.
Yeah.
So it was, and everything just sort of just went into a calm, relaxed.
Okay. 0 to
Yeah.
10?
I think probably about a 4 now.
4. Okay.
For,
All right, let's do a couple more rounds. Yeah, round of applause for her. All right, so I want you to tell me what was going on at the time. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hold the mic there for you. You're going to tap through the points, right? I'm going to tap with you. And you're going to tell me what was going on at the time when the frozen shoulder started. Okay?
When I injured myself.
Yeah, when you injured yourself. And just think emotionally, just what was going on in your life at the time. Okay, so that's a good question sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
My sister's in the audience, so she's going to understand.
Okay, and everyone, let's all tap together. So just tapping through the points. Okay.
I'm tapping too.
Yeah, yeah. So we're tapping and talking. I mean, what we're doing here is we're connecting to that emotion, that trauma, that stuck energy, voicing it, feeling it, and letting it go. Okay?
At the time, actually before I injured myself, I was working as a purser on a cruise ship and my mother became ill and she got dementia, so I had to quit the dream job of my life and I just went and worked for an agency and just was doing anything. And I was working 2 longer hours to try and make up the money that I'd lost on the cruise ship, and my mum became very ill with dementia. And I was caring for her at the same time as I was injured, so it was a very emotional time for me and stressful time for me because I had no help from anybody and I was suffering in all this pain and still trying to care for my mum with dementia.
And how does it feel when you think about that now?
It's shifted. It's shifted. I feel better for talking about it.
Okay, tapping the side of the hand. Even though this was a really tough time in my life, and part in my body, it's still holding part of that trauma. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though it was a really difficult time in my life, and maybe I'm holding on to it in my body, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though maybe I'm holding on to this trauma in this frozen shoulder, I choose to let it go now. Eyebrow, this trauma, side of the eye, it was such a tough time. It was so painful, and I'm still holding on to it. Under the mouth, and I still feel that pain in my body. Collarbone, and I feel that pain in my shoulder. Under the arm, this frozen shoulder. Top of the head, this frozen shoulder. Take a deep breath.
The whole of my right side's hot.
Yeah.
It's hot. And it feels good.
There we go.
I can certainly move it a lot easier, and it's hot pain,
Yeah.
but something's moving.
Yeah.
And look,
Yeah, that's, can you guys see? Can you see?
it's still about a 5, but I can lift it higher, and I just feel this hot pain travelling up and down from my head, where the pain travels, exactly down where the pain travels.
So what's this frozen shoulder at its deepest level really about?
Sorry, I don't understand.
What's been going on? What's the emotional significance for you of this experience of being in so much pain, of being, a frozen shoulder? Does the language mean anything to you? It's frozen.
I guess I just had a lot of hurt from my mother and a lot of hurt from my family. At the time when I was caring for Mum, I really had no help from anybody.
How do you feel?
I guess that's what it's all about.
How do you feel when you think about that? How they didn't help you?
I've forgiven everybody.
Has your
I
shoulder?
have. Pardon?
Has your shoulder?
I don't know.
Let's try something. Tapping the side of the hand. Even though I've forgiven everybody, but maybe my shoulder hasn't. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I've let go of all this anger and rage for the way they treated me, but maybe my shoulder hasn't. I choose to release this anger and rage now. Even though I had this leftover rage in my shoulder, it wasn't fair. It wasn't right. And I'm angry about it. But I choose to let it go. Eyebrow, this rage in my shoulder. Side of the eye, all this anger. Under the eye, all this anger in my body. Under the nose, all this stuck anger. Under the mouth, it's time to let it go. Collarbone, releasing it from my shoulder. Under the arm, releasing it from every cell in my body. Top of the head right now. Eyebrow, letting go of all this leftover rage. Side of the eye right now. Unfreezing the shoulder. Melting the ice there. Increasing the blood flow. Increasing the range of motion. And letting it all go. It's safe to let it go. What was that? All right, deep breath. What happened with your hand there?
Everything went cold.
Oh, yeah?
It's gone from hot to cold. It's something's happening here. Is it?
Earlier on, it went cold.
There we go. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Just all tingly, cold and tingly.
Yeah.
Not hot anymore. It's
Yeah.
cold.
That was cold. Wonderful. How about you? How you doing?
I think I feel more relaxed, but I think when I was listening to your story, like I always said, my back pain, like I always said, it was a work-related thing, but I think I maybe understand more why it was happening and whether an event that happened in my life recently made it worse or not, but just maybe understanding that I have to move forward is going to help me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the things that happens in the tapping process, I see it again and again, and part of the reason why psychologists and psychiatrists and medical doctors are bringing it into their practice, because these insights come up, not only a shift like that, but a new awareness comes up that hasn't been there before. And again, if we think about that fight or flight response and the amygdala firing, when we calm down, we get these new insights and ideas that haven't been there, and that also teach us the lessons. I mean, that's one of the things that I love. The tapping isn't an eraser tool. It's not like, okay, let's get rid of the frozen shoulder. It's let's feel the emotion, right? Let's feel the pain and actually process it through the body. I was talking to Louise Hay about this. You might have seen we did a video for our Tapping World Summit annual online event, and we were talking about tapping. And I said to Louise, you're the queen of affirmations and the queen of positive thinking, and we're tapping together and we're saying negative statements. Like, well, what's going on? And she said, honey, the way she goes, you got to clean the house first, right? Right? And that's what's going on here. Yeah, Louise, yeah. You have to clean the house. You have to see and actually acknowledge this is what's going on there. Then you can do the positive affirmations, right? And then they can feel true. Because if we had sat down and I said, let's do some positive affirmations about your shoulder, you would have been like, what's there to be positive about? Right? It's frozen, it's stuck, I'm in pain, nothing's moving. So we acknowledge that pain and that hurt first, and then let it go. Right? So, how about you?
Yeah, when I was listening to her story, I was sort of thinking about my situation, and I've sort of always carried other people's burdens and weighed myself down, and just worried about everyone else and not myself, and that was just very releasing.
Beautiful.
And it's funny because I feel like there's energy vibrating off my palms or something.
Nice.
It's amazing.
And And the pain in the knee and the neck, 0 to 10?
That's gone down to 2.
That's a 2, okay.
Yeah. This is probably 2 to 3 now.
A 2 to 3?
Yeah.
From an 8, right? In 20 minutes. So. All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll stop here, and all 3 of you and everyone else experiencing pain, keep tapping. I mean, your shoulder can go, to the top of your head. I can see it happening. All right? Thank you. 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 All right. Pretty cool, huh? Anybody in the audience have a shift of some sorts? Raise your hand if you had a shift. Good. Beautiful. Beautiful. So as you can see there in just a few minutes, to me, certainly shifting the pain that dramatically is really amazing, but it's beyond the physical pain. It's about shifting our experiences of life. It's about shifting our bodies and being able to really own that change. Right? Part of the reason why I've been traveling with Hay House last year is I just released my book with Hay House, The Tapping Solution. Thank you very much. Very exciting. It came out on April 2nd of 2013 and was a New York Times bestseller for the first 4 out of 5 weeks. So it was really, really exciting. Thank you. Thank you. Certainly exciting for me, but more than anything exciting for this technique, for the power of this technique to transform lives. I'm up on stage just one of literally thousands of people around the world, if not tens of thousands, practitioners, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists using it in their practice, people working with veterans with PTSD, people working in Africa with genocide survivors, people working in Newtown, Connecticut, my hometown, with the trauma that happened there. So I represent a league of people excited and passionate about what this technique can do. In the book, I detail how to use it on things like weight loss and finances, limiting beliefs, and how to use it for fears and phobias. If you have a fear of heights, fear of snakes, you can change that very quickly. And how to use it on clearing out that old childhood trauma, to clear out the things that are really stopping you, the things that are holding you back. Most of us have had an experience, and we know we're doing this work. We know the patterns. Right? We know the things that we keep doing over and over again. We know the things that we go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that again. Really? I've been studying this work for 20 years. I've been to every Hay House conference and I'm still doing it. Right? And that's okay, this is a process. But you can accelerate that process by really going deep, by identifying what do I feel, what's happened in my life, what haven't I let go of? What can I heal, what can I forgive, who can I forgive? That's when the magic happens. That's when all your dreams come true.